What is going on? Isaac Mashman here. I just wanted to go ahead and say thank you for listening to today's episode. Even though you haven't even gone through the episode, this is the introduction, but I want to just send you some positive energy, send you some positivity, send you some positive vibes, whatever the heck you want to call it. And I wanted to say thank you for taking the time out of your day to listen to the things I have to say. In today's episode, I talk about a variety of different things. It's always unscripted, right? With my podcast, I feel like the most natural, free-flowing conversation is the best conversation with the best message. So today I talk about why you're in control of your life, why you cannot let your past dictate your future, and a whole variety of other great things. So without spoiling any more of today's episode, make sure to listen to this. Thanks again, and I look forward to hearing from you and getting your feedback. And also, one more thing. At the end of listening to today's podcast, make sure to subscribe and make sure to leave a review. That really helps me out a lot, and that shows that you guys are listening. So with that being said, enjoy. What is going on, everyone? Isaac Mashman here, and you are now listening to episode 13 of the Hustler's Choice podcast. Now, it has been about a month since I recorded an episode. Guys, I don't even have to explain myself. I'm going to make it my goal to record more episodes, to push out more content, but I've been traveling. We all have lives to live, so don't beat me up too much for that. But today I'm going to be talking about a subject that all of you guys can relate to. Now I have a gut feeling that what I'm about to say over the next 10 to 15 minutes or however long I decide to, make this podcast, this is going to be a podcast that a lot of you guys can just genuinely use to take you to the new level, to take you to next levels of life, because this is something that I'm doing in my own personal life. Now, what I'm going to talk about today is that the life that you are living, you chose to live. You are in your current situation right now because you chose to be. Now, this episode, I already know for a fact, is also going to piss off a lot of people because I'm going to be straight to the point. I'm going to be brutal in the way that I come across. I'm not going to apologize for that either, because sometimes the best type of love is the tough love. And there are also no excuses. Now, for those of you who don't know, I've been traveling a lot recently. Back in July, I decided to pack my suitcase, move across country with the help of a friend. I was living in Bakersfield, California for 2.5 months. At the end of September, beginning of October, I decided to fly out to France. I had some really great friends out here. I'm not getting into any of my personal things, but I've been living in France for the past month. And I'm flying back to the States here shortly in the next week. But I chose to make those decisions. I chose to put myself in the situation of travel. Now, a lot of you guys are like, why the hell would you complain? What's so bad about this situation? It goes deeper than that. It goes a lot deeper than that. Back when I first got started in entrepreneurship, I was a senior in high school. I was 17 at the time. I was looking into going to different colleges, looking into different degrees, trying to figure out who I was, trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And that's when I came across entrepreneurship. That's when I realized that I had a lot of entrepreneurial tendencies when I was younger without even realizing it. Now, I chose at the end of the year to not go to college. I could have literally got a full ride scholarship, and I was like, screw that. It's a time investment that I don't want to make. College isn't for me. I'm going to go do my own thing. I'm going to go ahead and, pave my own path. I'm going to walk down my own road. And at the time, I had people, I had my guidance counselor. He's like, Isaac, what do you mean you're not going to college? You graduated, top 10 in your class and you're not going to college? What the hell? Like, you've been working for this. My parents had no understanding of why I chose not to. No one in my life. But the one thing that I understood at the time was that I was not going to college. I didn't know where it would lead me. I didn't know where it would take me. It took me to a lot of great places. I've been able to travel a lot, but that's a topic for another time. But what I'm getting at, guys, is that your life is based off of what you did yesterday. It's based off of the decisions you made or the decisions that you made or you chose not to make. It's made off of the actions that you did or did not do. And I've heard from so many people, I've heard so many people complain and whine about, their life and like, oh my God, I'm in a stressful situation. I'm complaining about, they're complaining about money. They're worrying about money. They're, oh my God, I freaking hate this. I hate all of this. I hate my job. I hate that I'm going to school. I don't even know why I'm going to school. I hate, all just the relationship that they're in. And it goes in so many different levels, guys. And the one thing that I just keep having to remind myself of is that I chose to live my life, just as they chose to be in the situation that they are in right now. They chose to go to college. They chose to go to college without any direction. They chose to get into that relationship with that person who they knew wasn't the right person for them. This is a very broad-based conversation, but to narrow it down a little bit, they chose to become an entrepreneur and not work a 9 to 5. They chose to drop out of whatever they were doing and pursue music as a full-time career. They chose to quit their job. You're in control of your life. Something that I've realized too, guys, is that you are literally the only person in control of your life. Yes, you cannot control the reactions of other people. You can't control everything down to a T, but that really doesn't matter. What matters is what you do, the actions that you do, the decisions that you do, the words that you speak. That's what really matters. You cannot put the blame of your life on any other person. You cannot put the blame and say that, oh my God, because of this and because of what happened, I can't do this. And that's the wrong attitude to have. That's the wrong perspective to have. And for me, I was on a phone call the other day with a friend of mine. He's actually also, he was a client of mine that I did work for with Mashman Media. And something that he was telling me, he's like, I have to remind myself that the situation I'm in right now, the people who I look up to, they were in other situations. And I got to talking with him, and I'm like, I'm going to just call him George, right? So I was talking to George, and he was just telling me how, all the people that we look up to went through similar situations. And I had to remind George, I was like, George, you have to understand that you chose to quit your job. You chose to get involved with this company that you're working at now, or that you're pursuing. You chose to go and do school. Just as I chose my lifestyle of an entrepreneur, not working a stereotypical 9 to 5, just as I chose not to go to college, you chose to make these decisions in life. Now you have to either, 1, turn back, or 2, you have to keep pushing forward, knowing that you are getting to the place in life that you want to be. There are going to be so many peaks and valleys, guys. The path of life is a trip, literally. Some of the things that have happened over the past month, over the past 4 months, I can't even process. I'm literally flying back home to my home city just so I can process this stuff and not have to, it's crazy, guys. It is unbelievable how things happen. You can never predict, everything that is going to happen, but you have to have a general direction of where you're going in life. You have to know what you want out of life. You have to know what you're pursuing. And if you don't know what you're pursuing, and if you're just wandering around, you're like a dog chasing its tail. And a lot of people, it's the same thing as a kid going to college. I had a lot of friends, a lot of my friends are going to college, and, whenever I was graduating high school, they're like, I'm going to college for this, that, and the other. A lot of the people that I was talking to didn't even know why they were going to college. They're like, I'm going to get a degree in business, and I'm like, why? Why are you going to college in the first place? And I was like, I'll tell you why you're going to college. You're going to college because you were raised and everyone around you told you to go. That doesn't mean that was the best decision for you. Now, I don't want you guys to think that I'm against college or anything, because I'm not. But when you go and do something because another person told you to do it and you don't know why you're doing it for any other reason other than another person told you, that's the wrong decision. You have to live life for you. You have to make decisions for yourself. You have to do what you think is best. Follow your heart. I'm not saying disregard everyone else's opinions, but in the end, you're the only person going to your grave. You're the only person who is going to reap the benefits or the consequences of your actions. Now, it's super easy to get discouraged when things don't go according to plan, right? Let's say you're an entrepreneur. Take the entrepreneur, for example. He quits his job. He starts up a business. The business isn't going as planned. And, he doesn't know what he's going to do next. Guess what? That's his fault. There's no other way around it. You can't blame the economy. You can't blame politics. You can't blame the customer. You can't blame, any of those things. You have to blame the person who is in charge. He made that decision. That person made that decision to go and quit his 9 to 5 and quit his comfort zone and get out of his comfort zone. Now, I know in this podcast, I'm talking about a lot of different things, but I just want you guys to understand that you have to stop relying on other people to live your life. You have to stop putting the blame for everything in your life on other people. Whenever I talk about my past, there are a lot of things about my past that I have not made public. I never talk about it in a way of giving it an excuse. Rather, I view that every single thing that has ever happened to me is all the more reason why I should succeed. Think of a deck of cards. Let's say you're playing poker, right? You could be given a really crappy hand, but it's up to you on how you can play that hand. You can still win a game of poker. You can still win a game with a crappy hand. You just have to know what to do with those cards. You can't control what family you were born into. You can't control, the parents that you were given, the family that you were given, or the place that you were, born. But what you can control is what you do with that. You can either use it to your advantage or you can let it hold you back. You can let it hinder you. And that's the wrong mentality. That's the wrong thing that you could do. Take everything that has happened to you and use that as all the more reason why you should succeed. Now, guys, one other thing that I really want to emphasize is that you have to be willing to accept the consequences of your actions, good or bad. Flying out to France, I booked a one-way ticket. I had a lot of uncertainty. I've already been out of my comfort zone for 2.5 months living in California. I go from living on the East Coast to living on the West Coast of America, living with family to living with friends. I go from moving across the, from the West Coast, from the west side of the world, moving and living in Europe. I booked a one-way ticket because I wasn't sure how long I was going to stay here. There's some other personal things that I was hoping would go a little bit differently. Didn't happen, but I booked a one-way ticket knowing that I would be in control of booking my ticket home. I'm not like some big name entrepreneur yet who has millions and millions of dollars who I can just, book a trip wherever I want to go, whenever I want to go. No, I have a budget. I'm budgeting out money. I'm paying attention to finances. I'm paying attention to what I am doing. So I knew that no matter what, I would have to face the consequence of my action. If it went south and if everything worked out horribly, I knew in the back of my mind that I would have to do, I'd have to go through and experience whatever I had to experience in order to get out the other side. The one thing that I knew, though, is that by being out of my comfort zone, I would experience the growth. But I was willing to accept the pain. I was willing to accept the consequence. I was willing to accept the fact that no matter what happened, it was because of me. It was because of me. You have to do the same thing. I know a lot of you guys are business, a lot of my listening audience, I know a lot of you are, business people. You have businesses that you're running, that you're looking to start, or you're rappers, you're artists, you're musicians and stuff like that. Just know that every single action that you do has a consequence. Every single, move that you make will lead to a reaction. And that is why it's so important to make every single day count, every single minute count, every single second count. We're given one life to live, and we have to do the most and make the most out of this one life. Be willing to go through the fire. Be willing to walk on the hot coals. Be willing, to literally, do whatever it takes. Do whatever it takes. But just know that by you doing what the 99% aren't willing to do, that will make you become a part of that 1%. That will make you stand out. That will make your goals become your reality. That will make the things in life that you want manifest and show themselves. There are a lot of things in life that I'm working towards. Not only materialistic, but also, I don't want to, I guess you could say finances, that would be materialistic goals, but also because I know that there are a lot of people out there who need to hear my story, who need to hear the things that I have to say, who need to hear about the experiences I have. And I know that the only way that that can ever happen is if I put in the work, if I take advantage of the opportunities I'm given, if I respect that I chose this life, that this is my life, now the ball is in my court. It's up to me how I want to play that ball. Go through life with a positive attitude. Go through with the understanding that no matter what, you're going to move forward. You're willing to do what it takes. You're going to go and make it happen. Disregard the negativity. If anything, use the negativity to fuel you forward. That's what I do a lot of the times. Disregard your past. Use your past as leverage to succeed. Stop using everything as an excuse. Start using it as every reason why. Guys, with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and close out this podcast. I have episode 14 already in the vault, ready to drop. But if you got 1 ounce of value from this, make sure to share it with a friend. Post this on social media. Tag Hustler's Choice Podcast on Instagram, on social media, because I am working now. My focus is on this podcast. My focus is really taking this to the new level. And the only way that I can even do that is with your help. So guys, with that being said, hope that you guys are crushing it. And remember, success before rest, and never let anyone negatively affect your hustle. I'm Isaac Mashman. Make sure to check me out at Isaac Mashman on social media, and to go to isaacmashman.com to stay up to date. So peace out.